Another really good human being, Steve Peichel at Rutgers. And man, have they come out of nowhere, completely off the grid. I feel like there's always one program that does this every year. They just come out of nowhere. Well, Rutgers has done that with 4 straight ranked wins. Tonight's coming up the Jersey Mike's Arena, Arch, not the rack. Jersey Mike's Arena. Wire-to-wire win over Illinois. Why has Rutgers been able to get back in the mix? Because they were kind of left for dead. Let's face it. What did they lose to? Lafayette and UMass back-to-back. DePaul, I think it was 3 games back-to-back in November.
Yeah. I mean, their non-conference was really tough. They were going through losing God, his name is escaping me, but Jacob Young at Oregon.
Yeah.
And then big fella at UCLA, 2 really big cogs in the wheel. And as they came into this year, Geo Baker was injured in the non-conference. Geo Baker's a terrific player, and they struggled in the non-conference. But the thing about Rutgers is, and it's not just at the rack, Steve Peichel's teams really defend, and they play hard as hell, and they will rebound the hell out of the ball, and they keep themselves in the game. And when you add in the fact that Geo Baker's a senior, Ron Harper Jr. is a senior, Caleb McConnell is a senior, Paul Mulcahy is a 3-year starter as a junior, and those dudes have been through not only the wars, but when they were freshmen, they were getting their heads kicked in. They went to the NCAA tournament in 2020, the year that the tournament got canceled. If you remember, it would have been their first bid in I don't know how many years. Those guys were sophomores at the time. Last year, they went to the tournament, played in it. And now you bring that same crew back this year, and, everyone's surprised that they're winning. They got off to a rough start. And right now they sit at 10-5 in the Big Ten. They're 1 game out of first place.
Amazing.
And, I think it's
amazing.
It's the unique thing, I think, that happens when you do play in the Big Ten is you have such an amazing opportunities in front of you to play against great marquee teams. And when you get a couple wins like that, you get on a run. But last year, Rutgers in January lost 5 straight games from the 1st of January until the end, and they rallied. They got tough guys. They got a great staff, and Steve Peichel is just an unbelievable, nuts and bolts guys. He just sticks with it, and they go to Purdue this weekend. If they lose to Purdue this weekend, is it over? No, they're going to keep coming, and I think that Rutgers will be there at the end. They're going to have a very unique resume, though, of a team with a 340 non-conference with no wins is going to have to come out of the Big Ten and maybe win 13 games to feel like they have a chance at an at-large bid. And that's with maybe the conference tournament, getting them another one. So they're not out of the woods yet, but I'm going to tell you this much right now. If you watch how they're playing defensively, they're 3rd in the conference right now in Big Ten play only. That's how Rutgers has done it. And in conference play, where it's really changed, they're shooting 38% from 3. They've got it going a little bit, shooting the ball. They got a tough matchup with Harper. Paul Mulcahy's really grown up as a player. And I think that Rutgers, I wouldn't be surprised at all as they finish if they're not right there for 12, 13 wins in conference going to the Big Ten tournament. And I hope that is enough because he is one of the truly great guys.
And Jeff, that's a tough place to play, man. I think it's a tough trip for Big Ten teams. Sean,
here's the number. You ready for this number? Yeah. They are 31-3 at home with fans in the last 3 years.
Yeah. I think some of the guys from the Midwest, they land in Jersey and they get into the rack there, and all of a sudden they break out in the hives. You can't make a shot, can't catch the ball. It's nasty. It's just, you go from the Midwest to the East, and I think it's always kind of been that way. It is a tough place to play, but Steve Peichel doesn't get enough credit, man. We laud certain coaches and we give them praise, especially those that maybe don't have the competitive advantage recruiting that some other programs do. And Steve Peichel, not only is he doing, more with less, but Like I played against some of the players that he had in his program.
Yeah.
A year ago, the best, you can make a strong argument, the best player in the Pac-12 transferred from Rutgers. You know, and when you look at the big fella at UCLA, Miles Johnson, Arch,
Yep.
right?
Miles Johnson.
I mean, he is a key cog in UCLA's opportunity to have a great finish to the season. So, I mean, he's losing players to transfers, and he's in arguably one of the top 3 conferences in the nation year in, year out, and he's doing it in Rutgers. And, you know, I have a soft spot for Steve Peichel for this reason. Back in the day when you'd go play at Hartford Civic Center and Chris Smith and Tate George and the fellas were out there, Jeff, when he checked in, I was like, thank God. I got another slow dude out here. I hope he hears me say that because he knows what I'm talking about.
Pike was tough,
he would
though.
Foul. Calhoun had him programmed. He would tackle you. He would foul you. He would use his arms and set screens and be tough. But I'm telling you, it was just like, oh, thank you. And you had no break with Chris Smith out there on offense and defense. I tell Rob Douster all the time, like, I know he's a big UConn fan. Chris Smith doesn't get enough credit for being one of the all-time great players in UConn history. Like the timing of him going there and what his teams did, I mean, that coincided with the rise of UConn, you know. But yeah, Steve Peichel, it was nice to see him enter the game. So a soft spot for Steve.
Against Illinois. They out-rebounded Illinois 46-28 in that game with Kofi in the game.
Right.
I mean,
Cliff Omarui was terrific. He might have had the best game I've ever seen him
you know,
play.
Cliff was a freshman last year with Big Miles. Now he's all by himself, and they don't play a lot of guys. I think the whole deal with Rutgers, if you really kind of look what's going on, is Paul Mulcahy. He's really awesome. He's kind of playing him like Colin Gillespie a little bit at the point. He backs you down. He had 31 a couple games ago, but he's a tough dude too. They got a tough team.
You know, identity, Jeff, we just talked about it, you know, like in college sports, it's just, you know, as the names and faces change from one season to the next, you do those same constants in place. Wisconsin basketball, right? I mean, it's just the same. And I think like, you know, Rutgers, you know, Steve playing for Calhoun and, you know, their physicality, their rebounding. I think everybody in the Big Ten, I know Archie used to rave about how tough they are, but they rebound, they're gritty, they're nasty, they're tough. And man, he tip your cap to those guys, man. They're doing a great job. I mean, it's not early January. We're talking about entering the 3rd week here of February, and they're 1 game out of first place in the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, they have 5 left. I mean, they're at Purdue and at Michigan. Won't be easy. Wisconsin at home, who they just beat, at Indiana, and they have Penn State at home. And they're 10-5. They have to find a way to get to 13 to be able to get to the tournament as an at-large team.
Arch,
you know, your statistics, Arch, are amazing. I don't know what you look at, where you get them from. CBS should hire you, or
he's younger
whoever,
than you.
Just to be the stat guy. Like
I have a guy in my ear, like all the great ones.
John, I mean, he knows how to use the internet. You're too old. He's the younger generation. I mean, he knows how to actually use Twitter. You're still not on Twitter, Sean.
He can make a guy feel stupid. There's no question about it.